Hey, patients and family, if you're seeing this, you either just had an exam or x-rays and or your family member did. And my job today is to explain to you guys as quickly and best as possible about how the body was designed and how it works. And so I sat where you guys were about 25 years ago. I had really bad asthma and allergies, so severe when I was 8 years old. They put me on meds for it, inhalers and Claritin. I started taking the drugs that caused headaches. So my mom took me back to the doctor when I was 12. They put me on Tylenol and aspirin just so I could put my football helmet on in middle school. And then when I was 17 years old, the Tylenol and aspirin started eating a hole in my stomach. So I started having really severe stomach ulcers, and they put me on ulcer medications. So by the time I was 21 years old, I was on 4 different medications. I was at the University of Iowa, third year pre-med, and my academic advisor said to me, she goes, "You should go see my chiropractor." And I'm like, "Why would I go see a chiropractor? I didn't even understand. I don't have neck pain or back pain. I don't get it." She said to me, she goes, "Listen," she goes, "99% of chiropractors work with neck pain and back pain, and they're pretty good with it. But 1% of chiropractors work with the healing power that God put inside your body. And so that's who you need to go see." And I was super skeptical, but I went. And I had all the testing done like you've had done already. And then the doctor came in and went through the information like I'm going to go through with you guys today. He explained to me once and for all where the healing actually comes from the body. And thank God I started getting adjusted back then, because within about 2 months, I came off of all 4 of my medications, and I haven't taken another medication in 25 years, except for full disclosure, I did rupture my Achilles about 9 years ago, and they did give me a couple pain pills to help take the pain off because the corona wasn't working anymore. So full disclosure. But there's a time and a place for that. But if you're going to be healthy, I'm going to teach you guys how to go about actually being healthy now. That's what I'm going to share with you guys today. So I like to show this, and this is I'm going to go through a few slides here so you guys pay attention. You'll be able to ask questions at the end. If you're watching this from home, hopefully there's no distractions around you. If you're in the office, we'll be in a second to grab you and we'll go look at your x-rays. But if you're looking at it from home, when you come to the office, I'll take you right back in the room and we'll look at your x-rays and we'll see what we can do to help you out. So I always like to start here. These are my girls. I have 4 girls. So I show this because I want some sympathy from you guys. Prayers, donations for weddings will be gladly accepted for sure. But the real reason why I show this picture is all 4 of my girls were born at home, no medicines, no drugs, no over-the-counter medications, no Tylenol, no aspirin, no vaccines, nothing, 100% the way that God designed them. And so what I love about this is that patients come to me now trying to figure out, how do I get that life for me? I said, well, first of all, if you want that life, we've got to get you away from this life, which is when you have a symptom. See, here's the thing. When most people have symptoms or problems, what we've been taught from early on in life is that if you have a symptom, number 1, you either ignore it. Number 2, you do what the slide says. You get a symptom, you go to the doctor, test drugs, more doctors, more drugs, more tests, more symptoms than surgery. And if you do nothing about the symptom, whatever's causing that symptom will keep getting worse. If you medicate the symptom or drug it or surgery, you're still hiding the symptom, but you're not actually fixing the problem. So the third option is to actually find out what's causing the issue. But I've got to first help you understand is that it's no longer about getting rid of your symptoms. It's about getting your body healing again. Because if we fix what's causing the symptoms, the body will actually heal. So think about it like a car. Think about it like an oil light. You don't cover the light up with a piece of black tape. You actually fix the oil and the oil light goes off. Similar type of thing what I'm talking about here. And I love asking the question to my patients, who's responsible for your health? And of course, when I ask that, I get all kinds of answers you can probably imagine. One of the major answers I get is people say, well, my doctor, I know I'm responsible, but most people say, well, my doctor's responsible. And that's what most people are doing. They're listening to their doctors. And then their doctors are being told, or they're going to only the doctors their insurance company will allow them to go to. And then on top of that, the insurance companies and doctors will only allow the procedures that the pharmaceutical companies and the pharmaceutical industry will actually push, or the government's pushing. So these 3 industries are all still about, when it's all said and done, about covering up your symptoms and not getting to the bottom of the problem. And so we've got to realize that we've got to do something different than that. And when we I love asking this question to most people, and I want you guys to answer this, even if you're at home. How good is our healthcare system? Are we a healthy nation? Or are we a sick nation? And most people would say we're a sick nation. These 2 Harvard doctors on this study, they said, you know what? We're tired of you Americans complaining about our healthcare system. We are going to prove it to you guys once and for all that we have one of the best healthcare systems you could possibly ever imagine. So they did this study. They gathered 37 richest countries and started gathering data. And what they found as they gathered data, that blew them away, is they found that United States spends the most money out of all those countries per person every single year. They also found that the United States takes most of the medications. We are only 5% of the world's population, yet we take 75% of the world's drugs. So if money and drugs were the answer, then we should be one of the healthiest countries on the planet, if not the healthiest. And of course, look at the bottom there, we rank 37 out of 37. We have more cancer deaths, more diabetes deaths, more heart disease deaths. So clearly, that last couple slides we looked at here, okay? Clearly, you got to ask the question, who's in charge of your health? Who's responsible? And the answer is, it's you. And these two Harvard doctors were blown away. They said the problem and the reason why we're so bad is because we're so symptom-based and we're not, as a whole, teaching how to actually be healthy. So the true definition of health here, and I love this, you can see this, it goes from 0% to 100%. And as you go from 0% to 100%, what happens is that at 100% function, we call this our function chart. At 100% function, that means your body is healing at the highest level that it possibly can. And not just healing at the highest level, but here's the thing. If your body's functioning at 100%, not only is it healthy, the hormones are balanced, you're a better dad, you're a better mom, you have better energy, better hormones, better emotions, better sleep, better sex life, better everything when your body's functioning I said it, sex life. Your body's functioning at 100%, okay? So what we're looking towards is nobody's perfect and you can't be at 100%, but the goal should be to move as far and as close to that 100% as we possibly can. That's what we should be constantly trying to search for. And so when you start to understand, and I love asking this when I get in a group of people, I love asking the question, how do you know you're healthy? Or when I ask the question, what is health? And when I ask 100 people this, when I'm on my radio show, wherever it is, I ask people, how do you know you're healthy? These are my 3 top answers I get. That first one blows me away every time because that's the main one I get. When people say, oh no, I know I'm healthy because I feel good. Here's the problem with that. Out of 100 people that are developing heart disease, do you guys know how 90 of them find out they have heart disease? They have a heart attack. Okay, so how'd they feel the day before? They felt fine. How about this? How about a cancer? 100 people developing cancer. When do they find out? When it's early or when it's really late? Usually when it's really late in the process. So we can't base health on how you feel because on that function chart that I just showed you, it's not until you actually hit the 60% function rate that finally a symptom shows up. So your heart could be functioning at 70% and have zero clue, but yet you're not healthy. But according to medical doctors, you have no symptoms. So you're actually healthy. That's not true. So you can't go by how you feel. Well, how about eating right and exercising? That's definitely part of it, right? We teach this stuff in our office. We believe in the 5 essentials. We believe in your mindset, your nerve system, eating right, exercising, and detoxing your body. We believe in those things fully. But we know that eating right and exercising on its own is not a great answer or definition for what health is. Because have you guys ever known anybody ate right, exercised, looked good on the outside, but still had cancer, right? You probably also know this too. You ever know anybody smokes, drinks, does everything wrong, and they're still living when they're 95 years old? We also know people like that. So I had this person come through my office about 5 years ago. She's 37 years old, beautiful, looks healthy from the outside. She had 2 forms of cancer, lung and breast cancer. Started from when she smoked in college. And the doctors, the oncologist said, when you took that smoke, those toxins in your lungs, your body wasn't able to heal. So if you look at the first 4 letters of health, it's the word heal. How well is that body healing? So this lady, her body wasn't healing well. So when she took those toxins in, it wasn't able to get rid of it or reject it. Then number 3, exercise. What about that? So she ate right, she exercised, did all the stuff. So you can't base your health on just eating right, exercising, looking good. How about this? We had another girl come in right after that. She was 19 years old. Her great grandpa was that guy, 95 years old, smoked for 80 years. At 15 years old was when he started. He smoked for 80 years. And before he died, they did a scan of his lungs to find out how much cancer he had. And guess what they found? They found 0 cancer in his lungs. What had happened is when he was taking those toxins in his body, not just smoke, alcohol, you name it, when he was taking those toxins, his body somehow was healing faster than it was breaking down. So that's what the true test to health is your body healing faster than it's breaking down? Back to that chart, 0 to 100%, right? At 100%, you're functioning at the highest level. That's what we need to get you guys to, is that 100% level. So if you look at this and how God designed the body, the brain and the spinal cord are what control everything. The brain and spinal cord send messages down through the spinal cord, out the nerves to all your organs, cells, and tissues. As long as your nerve system is functioning at 100%, there should be no sickness or disease whatsoever. If I disrupt the nerve system, if I take the nerve that goes to your heart and cut it, what happens to the nerve of your heart? What happens to your heart? Your heart does what? It dies. If I cut the nerve to your thyroid dies. If I cut the nerve to your digestive system, it dies. We don't see cut nerves, but what we see are choked or pinched nerves. So if you now have pinched nerves to your heart, what happens to the heart? It dies slowly. If I pinch nerves to your thyroid, it dies slowly. If I pinch nerves to your neck, guess what? It dies slowly. And it might show up as aches and pains. It might show up as headaches. It might show. See, the thing is, when you have the symptom, that's your first warning signal that something's not functioning right. So the way that God designed that brain and spinal cord, you have hundreds of millions of nerves up here that have to get down through that spinal cord. And it's like a bundle of wires, basically. And that bundle of wires is protected by your skull up here, right? But also the spine. The spine's supposed to be perfectly straight up and down as you look at it straight on. And then from the side, it's supposed to have, you look at the chart, have these nice curves in there. That's there for a reason. And if the spine differentiates or deviates from that, then you have problems. And so we call that problem, or that stress to your spine, where the problem comes in. Remember, if I cut the nerve to the heart dies. If I create what's called a subluxation process, which basically means that two bones are supposed to sit up straight on top of each other, okay? And if the bones are not aligned properly, then there's pressure or stress to that area. And that's what's called a subluxation process. Think of it like a cavity in your tooth. Every day that the cavity's there, it keeps getting worse. And so when that spine goes out of alignment, and it goes out of alignment for one of three reasons: traumas, thoughts, and toxins. Traumas are physical things: slips and falls, car accidents, football, basketball, texting, computers, you name it, posture, how you sleep, all those things. Okay. Thoughts are emotional stressors. Okay. That could be how you were talked to as a kid, the things that you think for yourself. This time that we're living in right now, it can be stressful for some people. And then last one is toxins, chemicals. And toxins come in the form of a lot of things. It's in the drugs that they're giving us to try to help us, heal us. And it's also in the chemicals around us in our lawn, our dry cleaning, our cleaners, everything, you name it. The vaccines that they're trying to give to you, all that stuff has toxins. So whatever the reason is why the stress got to your spine, it's going to be hard for us to detect that. But we can try to detect that moving forward. But all we know is that we can find the subluxation process starting in your spine. If you look at the picture on your left there, here's the brainstem, there's the spinal cord. It's a picture of the neck from the side. So this person is facing this way, okay? Their nose is over here, okay? And this is their neck, and this is their head right up here, okay? They're facing this way over here. This is the back of their neck. And you can see it with the cadaver here. Here's the brainstem, and there's that bundle of nerves. And when it's curved like that, it's a healthy spinal cord. When you look at it straight on, it'd be straight up and down. And when you look at it from the side, it'd be curved. So this person here is functioning or healing at or close near to 100%. But when that subluxation or stress comes in the spine, slowly what starts to happen is that curve goes from here, and you start to lose that curve. And within 10 to 20 years, you get what's on the right-hand side there, which is called a pathological spinal cord. And you can see that stretching. Now think about it this way. If I take a garden hose that's nice and relaxed, but then I stretch it like this, that diameter of that garden hose now becomes narrowed. So when I stretch it here, watch this next picture, is that the left one, the healthy spinal cord, the bundle of nerves is a nice oval shape like this. But when you stretch it, they call this canal stenosis. And what this is why when people ask me, okay, I understand why this can help neck pain or back pain, but how are you helping people with depression, anxiety, sleep issues, people that have numbness and tingling in their hands, sinus issues, ADD, ADHD, ear infections for kids, you name it, we see it in our office. This picture on the right is the reason why, because it's not just affecting one nerve, it's affecting multiple nerve levels. So I'm going to try to show you this right now, because I think this is huge for you guys to see, is that this picture here, this is going to show you an illustration of what it looks like to go through a degeneration process. And you'll see as it clicks through there, they're going to peel the muscles off here. These are the nerves. These are the disc spaces. That's the spinal cord. And this is what the spine looks like as it goes through subluxation degeneration. That's 10 to 20 years, 30 to 40 years, 50 to 60 years. So that continuation of the spine, that helps us understand what does your spine look like? It helps us get, is your spine in a good position or is it in a bad position? And a phase 2 of degeneration is not only does the spine straighten and lose its curve, but you start to lose some of the disc spaces in there. And you can see over here, and once it gets to a level of 50 to 60 years, you lose all your disc spaces. So in a little bit, or when you come into the office and you see your x-rays, we're going to look at to see what level of degeneration you're at so we know how long this pressure has been on your nerve system. It'll also help us understand what's going on as far as from a functional aspect of what's going on inside your body too. So I'm going to show you what normal, abnormal x-rays look like. This is a picture of a spine straight on, left hip, right hip, and here's the low back sitting straight on top of each other. So the nerve supply through here are the nerves that go to your digestive system, male, female organs, sciatic nerve, back pain, kidneys, intestines, liver, pancreas, all your adrenal glands. That's what goes on through this area in here. So this lady at 40 years old, her nerves and nerve system is working at or near close to 100%. See the guy on the right? I don't know if you can see it. It's a little bit dark, but you can see how the right hip is a little bit high. The left hip's a little bit higher than the right hip. And you can also see how the spine is shifted off to the side like this. And so there's all kinds of pressure on the nerve system here. Well, one of his best friends said, hey, Adam, you've got to go see Dr. Mark. And he's like, no, why would I go see a chiropractor? That's crazy. And if you look at that picture and you start to remember what nerves this goes through, you've got to remember with this kind of pressure on the nerve system, all the organs in here are being affected. Now, remember, you don't have symptoms until it hits a 60% level. So his first symptom, he's 30 here, his first symptom was that he had, he was diagnosed with right kidney failure. So his kidney started failing. Now, don't get me wrong, this kidney more than likely was working poorly and all the intestines, everything else. But this is the only symptom he had. So the doctors at 20 years old said, here, take this pain pill. So he starts taking these pain pills. Doesn't fix the problem. So at 25 years old, they hook him up to dialysis. And they say, okay, they're going to clean out his body. But guess what? Dialysis doesn't fix the problem because you still have a kidney problem. And so then finally they go, hey, we're going to do a kidney transplant at 30 years old. And guess what happens? They take your good kidney and put it in this guy's body. What happens to your good kidney in this guy's body? Same thing. It dies too, because you haven't solved what was causing the issue in the first place. And if you don't take the pressure off these nerves in here, not only can the kidney not heal, but all these other organs are going to start to give out, even if you have a new kidney here. So do you see why I'm so against drugs and surgery? Not to say that there's not a time and a place for it, but if you want true health, you've got to dive in here and start to get function back to from your brain to your body, because your brain knows how to heal everything in your body right now, but we've got to reconnect it. Picture the neck from the side. Remember, here's the jaw, here's the back of the head. Again, the person's looking that way, right? Here's the spinal column right here. You can see it. And what's happening in here is the spinal column, the curvature in here. You can see the disc spaces are nice wide open. The person's looking this way, like I said, 40 to 45 degrees. So when you look at your x-rays, when you come and look at your x-rays, when we go look at your x-rays, you should see a number back here will put either 10 degrees, 5 degrees, negative 10 degrees. We've seen 20 degrees. You want to see 40 to 45 degrees. If you see that, that means you have 100% function to your nervous system. It's functioning at a higher level. The other thing that you're going to see too is that there might be a number at the front of the spine up here, okay? That's called forward head posture. In this lady's case at 50 years old, she has no forward head posture. Typically, that head and neck will lean forward, and there'll be a number here like 5 or 10 millimeters or more than that for some cases. So she's 50 years old, perfectly healthy, properly functioning nerve system. How about this lady over here? Do you see her spine? It's leaning forward. She's minus 10 degrees. So that number minus 10 would normally be back here. Not only is it minus 10, her head's leaning out in front of her shoulders too. Not only that, how are her disc spaces? They're completely worn down. There's so much pressure. So this lady on the right, she came into my office. She's taking 6 different medications. Her best friend said, you've got to come see Dr. Mark. And she's like, no. And this is, I'm going to encourage you guys right now. If you have friends or family members at home that don't have a clue what their spine looks like, and they have multiple health problems or potential health problems, They need to find out why their body's not healing. The x-rays are just unbelievable. This lady had been to chiropractors before too. And she comes to our office and she didn't think chiropractic could help her, but she's taken 6 meds, 1 for high blood pressure, 2 for thyroid, 1 for depression, 1 for anxiety, 1 for sinus headaches. And so all 6 medications, as we started adjusting her, within 3 months, she came off all 6 meds and never went back on them again. She had more energy. Her hair started growing faster. She could sleep better at night and she could focus better and she had more joy in her life. And that's what we're searching for our patients. I don't want to just adjust you so you have some aches and pains gone. I want to be able to adjust you so you can have full function and do exactly what God's called you to do for a full life for as long as you're supposed to live on this planet. Some of you guys want to live longer than others, okay? These are 2 kids, same family, same parents, same school, same food, same everything. Little boy never had a sick day in his life. The little girl constantly sick with ear infections from the day she was born, and she just kept getting worse over and over again. And ear infections, antibiotics, tubes in her twice. She started going deaf, and her immune system was completely shot because they put her on so many antibiotics. Which one's the sick little girl if you had to guess between these 2? The one on the right. Minus 13 degrees. You can see it. She's reversed. Minus 13 degrees, forward head posture. This little girl that came in, thank God one of mom's best friends said, hey, I don't know, but maybe you should go see Dr. Mark. Maybe he can help you. I don't know. Just go get it checked. And sure enough, we started looking at this and we started adjusting her. Within 2 weeks, her ear infections completely went away. Never missed another day of first grade again. Now, here's what I love is that we also checked the brother and we checked the other sister and we checked mom and dad. And so why do we check everybody? Not because it's hereditary, but because sometimes it's familial. It runs in the family. And so you can see on his, remember we want to be 40 to 45 degrees. He's not perfect. But do we wait until he hits the 60% and starts having symptoms? Do we wait until he gets here? Or do we take and start adjusting him now so he can have full function through his nerve system and carry that on through the rest of his life? That's obviously a lot smarter. So in our office, here's what I love, what we've been doing a lot more lately. We're doing a lot of families right now. We're seeing tons of families coming through the door. Why? Because we believe in families getting healthy together, not just for an ache or pain, but we're thinking longer term. How do we take our family? Like I said, my family, my kids, 16 years old is my oldest, never been to a doctor. Now we have families that have been with us 16 years in our office that still have never gone to doctors because they constantly keep taking care of themselves, eat better foods, exercise, take care of themselves the way you're supposed to. This is what makes us different than other chiropractors, okay? You guys might have a chiropractor right across the street from where you live. You might travel from 2-3 hours away. We got people that travel from a long ways away to our office. What you're seeing here on Jen on the left picture, this is her initial picture when she came in. You can see it's in bad shape. So again, we're looking for a curve in there. Guess what? It's not there. It's negative degree, -6 degrees leaning forward. She's got forward head posture. The head's way out in front. And remember, it's supposed to be curved this way. So Jen comes in massive migraine headaches for the last 12 years of her life. She loves her doctors, but nobody can help her. And they put her on tons of meds. She loved the chiropractor she went to, but nobody could fix her. They would have temporary relief. The problem with both the doctors and the chiropractors is they were only treating her symptoms. They would adjust her. Remember that 100% to 0%? They were treating her. She was at 60% with symptoms. They would give her a few adjustments, but then when she felt better, they would say, come back when the pain comes back again. It's kind of like in order to fix the spine that you see here on the left, you have to take it through what's called MaxLiving Corrective Care. With our MaxLiving Corrective Care, this is what separates us from other doctors and other chiropractors. We actually go through the process of actually fixing it. So if you know of anybody that ever had braces or you yourself had braces, think of it this way. What if they put your wires on and on the first day they said, you know what? We're gonna completely fix it all today, and they tried to tighten it all the way. What would have happened to your teeth? They'd have broke your teeth off, right? We don't want that to happen. So what they did is they put the wires on. They said, we're gonna tighten a little bit this month, and then next month we're gonna do what? Tighten a little bit more, and next month tighten a little bit more. And every step along the way, it gets better and better and better. That's the key. And so same thing with the spine is I can't jump on a step ladder and run with the elbow smashed to your neck and try to fix this. And that's not going to happen. It's not going to fix it. I'm going to hurt you. So I told Jen, I said, listen, we've got to do what's called corrective care. In order to fix the bones of the mouth, you have to have constant pressure over time. So in order to fix the bones of the spine, guess what? Constant pressure over time. So as you're sitting here watching this, as you're getting nervous about how much it's going to take to fix your problem and how much it's going to cost, okay, I'm going to tell you that I could fix your spine if I adjusted you every single day for the rest of your life. It'll keep moving in the right direction. But nobody wants to come every day, and I don't want to work 7 days a week, and you don't want to pay me what it costs to come 7 days a week, and it's not feasible. So we had it with MaxLiving Corrective Care. We actually said, if we adjust you 3 times a week to start out with, and everybody's plan's different. So when you see your plans or your family members' plans, it might be different. But we typically start people out at 3 times a week. And at 3 times a week, what we do is we adjust you. And then the days you're not there, you do stretches and exercises. And then we adjust you and you do stretches and exercises. And every step along the way, we keep pressure on the spine moving in the right direction. That's our goal. And so same thing for the spine and for you is that if we adjust you and you do the exercises, we're going to move the spine. After 2 weeks of adjustments, her migraine headaches completely went away, and they've been there for 12 years. She's saving $1,000 a month after 2 weeks. Now, if I would have taken an x-ray of your teeth or your kids' teeth after 2 weeks of wearing braces, how much different would it have looked? Not different at all. Same thing with the spine here. If I take an x-ray of her after 2 weeks, guess what the spine looks like? Pretty much the same. But most chiropractors and most doctors would stop because insurance companies stop paying when you stop having pain. But what I told Jen after the second week is I said, listen, we're not going to stop because all your problems are going to come back. And all the pressure on these nerves in here is causing other issues that you don't even know about yet. So we kept adjusting her. After 3 months, we took a picture. We always typically now 2 months into it, but we used to take it 3 months into it, but we'll take pictures along the way. We do every 12 visits, we sit and re-exam. We want to know, are you moving in the right direction? Every 24 or so visits, we'll take x-rays. We want to know, are you moving in the right direction? And we don't guess, we don't base it on how you feel, because her spine could look perfect like this and still have migraine headaches, and I'd be happy because I know that if we keep getting the pressure off, eventually the body's going to be able to take what it has and heal. It might just take time, obviously, clearly, okay? There's a reason why I don't sign contracts with insurance companies, and this is it. Because if I sign a contract with an insurance company, they will only let me see you for how many times you have pain, or a limited number of times, like 6 or 12. And what that also does is it jacks the prices through the roof. And so let me give this as an example. If you go, actually, let's go back. If you go into a hospital right now and they give you 2 Tylenol, anybody know how much that costs? Yeah, probably between $37 and $67. Okay, that's if they don't charge you for anything else, right? But here's why they do that, because they can get away with it. The insurance company will pay for it. Just like with the COVID stuff, nobody would pay $19,000 to go to the doctor for this thing, but because insurance pays for it, now that's what their charge is. And so same thing right now with this is that if they can charge $37 for 2 Tylenol, they will. And that's why prices get jacked up for heart disease and cancers and all these treatments for anything, for x-rays, for scans, everything, because insurance companies drive prices up. If there was no insurance in that hospital though, and you had to pay cash for the Tylenol, they would come in the room and say, hey, here's 2 Tylenol, it's $37. I need it from you. You're going to say no. And then you're going to say, how about $10? You're going to say no. And finally, you're going to say, hey, how about 10 cents? You're going to be like, that's a fair price. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. Same thing with this is that from a chiropractic standpoint, if you walk into a chiropractor's office that's insurance-based, they're going to limit the amount of visits you can get, number one. But then number two, they're going to actually dictate the cost. And the cost for limited insurance visits is somewhere between $300 and $500 per visit. So if you go to a chiropractor for a car accident or for insurance-based reasons, they'll only adjust you for your symptoms, number one. But number two, they're also going to charge you a lot of money. Let's say it's $300 a visit. You need 40 visits. That's 12 grand. So I said no to contracts with insurance companies because this next lady, Charlene, she unfortunately had this whole insurance thing, and she only went 12 times a year. And the reason why she only went 12 times a year, because her insurance company would only cover that. And so what happened is she would get one adjustment a month for 20 years. She would move forward one day, but then backwards 29 days. And next month, 1 day forward, 29 back. 1 day forward, 29 back. And it was like that over and over and over again. And life as she knows it was completely and totally miserable, because now 20 years later, when she moved to Charlotte, she goes, I love you guys. You're amazing. I showed her this picture, but she went from a phase 1 to a phase 3 in the matter of 20 years. And you're not supposed to go backwards if you're seeing a chiropractor. Well, you do go backwards if you're seeing a pain relief chiropractor. If you're only getting adjusted every now and again, you're going to go backwards. And that's what happened to her. It's like the braces. If you only wore it for 1 day on, but 29 off, 1 day on, 29 off, you're going to move backwards. That's what her spine did all these 20 years. And now she's paying with it with depression anxiety, and thyroid issues. Unfortunately for Charlene, I told her, I said, listen, I'm not going to see you for only 6 visits a year. You need 45, 50 visits tops, okay, or at the least to get this thing moving in the right direction. She said, I'm just going to go to a chiropractor that will take my insurance. And I said, well, we take insurance, but it's not going to pay for everything and only pay for your allotted visits. And she's just like, yeah, she goes, I'm going to go home and think about it, which I don't know if you guys know this. I'm not from the South, but I found out very early with Charlene that I want to go and think about it. It's y'all's way in the South of saying no to me nicely. Listen, if you see your x-rays and you see a problem and you know that you need to get it fixed and you want to get it fixed, you generally want to get it fixed, you're in the right place. We've never turned anybody away for schedule. I've never turned anybody away for financial reasons. We will always find a way for you. And even bigger than that, we'll find a way for your whole family to afford care if that's what you choose to want to do. But for Charlene's sake, she was so caught up on insurance and thought that our insurance should pay for everything. I wish it did. But guess what? Insurance just not going to pay for all the chiropractic care that you need. Unfortunately, I never saw her again, but we kind of know, all of us kind of know what probably the rest of the story is. This is Sam, his great-grandma, one of my favorite patients of all time. Harriet came into my office, 94 years old. She goes, Dr. Mark, man, I don't understand a word you say. You talk too fast. But what I do understand is if you have a good spine, you have good health. And if you have a bad spine, you have bad health. I'm like, oh my gosh, come teach my class. That's exactly what everybody needs to know. And with that little bit of knowledge, she started referring in all her family members. Like she referred in like 18 members of her family, friends, neighbors. The first person she referred in was her neighbor that had cancer. She goes, can you help my neighbor that has cancer? I said, yes, if she has damage where? And she goes, in her spine. I go, how do I know it? She goes, well, you got to take an x-ray. I'm like, yep. And so she referred in somebody with diabetes, somebody with heart disease, somebody with neck pain, somebody with headaches. Those are the easy ones, right? Headaches and neck pain are easy ones to refer your friends to our office with. But when you start talking about heart disease, cancer, diabetes, you start to talk about healing. Well, here's the last person she referred in my office, Sam. And Sam was 17 years old. His great-grandma goes, hey, can you help my great-grandson Sam? I go, what's going on? She goes, well, he's got depression and anxiety. He's 17 years old. And last night he tried to put a rope around his neck and he tried to hang himself. And I just got sober and the whole room got sober that she was saying in front of. And I'm just like, holy cow, I'm so sorry. I go, what's going on? I go, how can I help? And she goes, well, I just want to know if you can help him with his spine. And does it help depression and anxiety? And basically I said to her, if he's got damage in his spine, what do we need to do? She goes, we need to see his x-rays. And I said, sure enough, this part of the spine and nerve system at the very top, what you're looking at here for him, again, here's his jaw, here's the back of his head. Just so you guys know, this is a shadow of a hand. He didn't swallow a demon or anything like that. Okay, but here, watch what happens. Brainstem, spinal cord sticking down through here. You can see how flat that spine is reversed in the wrong direction, okay? And so his head's leaning forward too. So he has so much pressure in his neck right here. It affects depression, anxiety, and all these other things. Immune system, compromise, focus, attention, ADD, ADHD, depression, anxiety, you name it. That's the spot. I said to grandma and mom and dad, I said, listen, if you leave this there and do nothing about it, what's going to happen to him? She goes, well, probably going to end up killing himself and maybe succeed one of these days. And I go, even if he doesn't, the thing you got to realize is that his body's getting healthier every single day if it stays in that position. So when you see your x-rays, I'm going to ask you the simple question. I'm going to say, what do you see? And I want you to be able to recognize what the curves are, what the numbers are, and everything like that. I want you to know what is it causing with you? Like I want you to link it to the symptoms that you're having right now. And then number 3, what happens if you do nothing about it? And because I want you to realize that if you do nothing about this, every day that it's there, it's just going to keep getting worse. Thank God Sam and the family they chose that day to start getting it fixed right away. Because here's the key. When you get adjusted today, if you're coming in or whatever day you are coming to look at your x-rays, or if you're going to look at it right now, when you get adjusted today, you leave here healing. You leave our office healing and moving in the right direction. You can see what happened to Sam after 2 weeks of us adjusting this pressure off the nerve system. His brain started communicating. He came off his antidepressants, anti-anxiety drugs. 3 drugs, 2 antidepressants, 1 anti-anxiety drugs completely off with the help of his doctors, by the way. 2 more weeks, he started running every single day. 2 more weeks, 6 weeks into it, he actually started teaching Sunday school back at his church again. See, that's my prayer for you guys. I don't want to adjust you guys so you guys can die with less pain. That's not what my office is about. What my office is about is let's get your body functioning at the highest level. Yes, to get rid of your aches and pains that you're suffering from now, but let's prevent all the sickness and disease from moving forward. And let's make sure your family gets that too. Look what happened to his picture three months in. night and day difference. He's almost completely textbook normal 3 months in. This is what care plans look like for Sam. It might be a little bit hard for you guys to see this, sorry, but I'll run through some of the numbers. This is the sheet that I would give you if I was an insurance doctor, okay? Basically what it says here, and I'll just read it off for you. We did 3 times a week for so many weeks, 2 times a week for so many weeks, and 1 time a week for so many weeks. In his case, we said 8 weeks, 3 times a week for 8 weeks, 2 times a week for 6, 1 time a week for 6 weeks. Majority of people's plans are going to be somewhere in this range, okay? Between 35 and 50 visits. It's going to take between 4.5 and 5.5 months. It includes all your re-exams, all your re-x-rays along the way, okay? All the stretches and exercises that you have, plus all of the home exercises that we're going to give you as well, and teaching and classes and everything else. If I was an insurance doctor, it'd be somewhere between $8,600 and $12,000, like I said before. So what we do with MaxLiving Corrective Care is I don't sign contracts with insurance companies, so I don't have to use these insurance fees. I actually am really super conservative. We still have to do some of what's called medical necessity. Medical necessity means I have to have a diagnosis to treat you for at the beginning. And we do a small amount of visits up here because if you do have insurance, we can submit these visits to your insurance company. But the majority of your visits are going to be down here, what's called corrective care. This is where, by me not signing a contract with the insurance company, I can basically use whatever fee I want to down here within reason. But that's what takes an $8,000 to $12,000 care plan and brings it down to somewhere between $2,600 and $3,600, somewhere in that range. Now, I get it. It's still a lot of money, but it's half the cost of braces. Braces, you can always get new teeth. You only get one spine in your life. Let's put it in perspective. Now, whatever the number is down here and whatever your discounts were on insurance, if your insurance company pays for anything, it'll show up with the number down here. If you do a one-time payment on it, you get a 10% savings. If you can't do a one-time savings on it, one-time payment, then we split it up into payments. If you can't do that one-time payment that way, we spread it up into what's called care credit. It's a line of credit that allows you to get the adjustments that you need and pay for it when you need to with interest-free. Last x-ray, we're almost there. This is Timmy. Look at it. Is it healthy or sick? He's sick. He's 4 years old. Diagnosed with HSP, long story short, went through a HELL. Family was terrified. They brought dad home from Iraq. This is years ago. Brought dad home from the military from Iraq because he was about ready to die. They said, your son's got 3 months left to live. And what they called this HSP. And not that they saw the spine here, but you guys can see the spine and how flat it is. Before he even came to my office, they diagnosed him with HSP, which is a blood-borne autoimmune disease. A blood-borne autoimmune disease means that basically in his case, the blood was eating away at the joints of his body. And he had a rash top to bottom and he couldn't even function. Mom and dad couldn't even hug him at 4 years old. That's how bad he hurt. So they went uptown to the hospital and $200,000 worth of testing later. Thank God the insurance company paid for a good portion of it. But $200,000 testing later, the doctor said, there's nothing more we can do for him. We think your son's got about 3 months left to live. And give him these steroids for the pain. There's nothing more we can do. So, of course, mom and dad are just like, well, we're not stopping there. So guess where they go next? They go to Duke. At Duke, they charge them $100,000, but because the insurance company already paid, they won't pay for it again. So mom and dad had to sell their house early, sell cars early, borrow money from family members, max out credit cards, do whatever they had to do to get their son to stay alive. And they did all the testing up at Duke. And at the end of the testing, the doctor comes in the room and says, your son's got HSP, blood-borne autoimmune disease. There's nothing we can do. 3 months left to live, steroids. Get ready to make arrangements. Mom and dad lost it bawling because they thought we were going to finally find a solution. They couldn't find it. Thank God one of mom's best friends happened to be sitting through a class like you guys are receiving right now, whether it's through video or it's sitting in a room. And what happened is the mom's best friend said, before I see my own x-rays, I need to phone a friend. I need to call somebody. And so she calls Beth, Timmy's mom, and says, Beth, you need to get Timmy over there right away. So they're waiting for us in the parking lot the next morning on a Wednesday back in November 23 of 05 somewhere. And so basically what was happening is they were waiting for us in the parking lot. We took the x-ray, $40. And they came back, sat through and watched what I just presented with all these x-rays. And they started bawling and losing it. They're like, how in the world have the best doctors in the world missed this? And that none of them ever knew that my son had an immune system problem that was actually coming from his nerve system in here. And they said, this is highway robbery. How come nobody? And I showed them their care plan, and his care plan was like $2,800. And they said, we're broke, but we'll find it. and they found it and they put maxed out our credit card. They did it, whatever they had to do. We started adjusting this kid within 3 weeks. He was, or 3 days, 3 adjustments. He was off his steroids. Within 3 weeks, he had no more rash, no more steroids, no more pain, no more aches. 5 weeks, you could never tell that the kid ever had another issue again. See, the thing is that when you take the spine and the nerve system and you adjust it and you take the pressure off, your body starts to do the healing. So I'm speaking directly to you. Now, when you see your x-rays here in a little bit, or when you come in to see your x-rays, we're going to look. First thing we're going to look at is the spine straight up and down, looking at it straight up and down and your hips level. If it's not, then we know the nerves in those areas are being affected and those organs are being affected. Then we're going to look at the neck from the side. And if you're losing the curve in here, it's going to tell us how long you've been going the wrong direction. Thank God there's a lot of grace, and thank God you can have a lot of messed up spines and still be okay. But it's time to get moving, because every day that we leave the spine there, it's going to get worse. So when you see your x-rays, I'll ask you the questions. What do you see? Okay. What's it causing? How's it affecting your body? And what happens if you do nothing about it? Last question I always ask people is, I'm going to ask you, do you want to get it fixed? If you unequivocally, yes, I want to get it fixed, then we will find the schedule. We will find the financial way for you. We always do. I promise you that. No matter how good or bad your insurance is. Typically these days, everybody's insurance is bad, just so you guys know. But when you guys see your x-rays, I will tell you this. We don't ask a lot of our patients, but we do ask 2 things if you're going to be a patient in our office. Number 1, be committed. Show up for your visits. Do your home stretches and exercises. Come to as many classes as you possibly can and engage in our Facebook page and watch as many videos as you can, because the more you know, the better you can take care of you and your family's health. The second thing is, once you're a patient in our office, you're no longer a patient in the office. Our job is to try to go find as many people that need our help as we possibly can. And guess what? We're going to use you guys to go find those people, whether they're in your immediate family or they're your neighbors or friends. If they do it in this first week, I will let you bring them in complimentary, no charge. Come in, at least get an exam, consultation, and x-rays. All they have to do is they have to call our office within this week. Just let us know who that is at the end of this. But right now, today, when you go look at your x-rays, or whenever you're coming to see your x-rays, it's going to be about you and your family, and then we'll talk about everybody else from here on out. So hope this all made sense. I'm excited for what's ahead of you guys. People that 9 times out of 10 people start this pathway, and they have such great changes and results. And the ones that are engaged, they just have unbelievable changes, and I love it. And their life changes, and they start to make lifestyle changes, and they create habits. That's what my prayer is for you guys. And I know that we're going to give it everything we have. And if you give it everything you have, you're going to have great changes, great results, and we're going to get you taken care of. Have a blessed day.